Across the world, nations are collapsing, not from war, but from within. Political instability, economic turmoil, and social unrest are just a few of the factors contributing to these declines. In this video, we will delve into the top 10 collapsing countries you must know. Let's uncover the stories behind these faltering nations and understand the complexities that lead to their downfall. Let's take a closer look at our number 10, Sri Lanka. Once a thriving nation known for its lush landscapes and vibrant culture, Sri Lanka has faced a series of devastating blows. In 2021, the government imposed a sudden ban on chemical fertilizers, aiming for an ambitious shift to organic farming. The result? Crop yields plummeted, leading to widespread food shortages. Economic mismanagement compounded the crisis. The nation's debt skyrocketed, and by 2022, inflation had surged over 70%. Everyday goods became unaffordable for many citizens, sparking massive protests across the country. Sri Lanka's story is a stark reminder of how quickly policy decisions and economic factors can spiral into chaos. As we move on to our next countries, keep in mind the delicate balance required to maintain national stability. Number 9, Pakistan. Political instability and soaring prices pushed the rupee into freefall. But what exactly led to this situation? Pakistan, a country with a rich history and strategic significance, has been grappling with multiple crises. Over the past few years, the nation has seen a revolving door of leadership, with political factions constantly at odds. This instability has eroded public trust and hindered long-term economic planning. In 2021, the COVID-19 pandemic further strained the country's resources. Lockdowns and reduced economic activity led to a sharp decline in GDP. The government struggled to implement effective measures, and the healthcare system was overwhelmed. By 2022, inflation had skyrocketed, with basic commodities becoming increasingly unaffordable for the average citizen. The Pakistani rupee hit historic lows against the US dollar, exacerbating the economic woes. The cost of living surged, and many families found themselves unable to make ends meet. Meanwhile, international relations have also played a role. Tensions with neighboring India and fluctuating alliances with global powers have added layers of complexity to Pakistan's predicament. The country's reliance on foreign aid and loans has only deepened its financial troubles. Pakistan's situation is a complex tapestry of political, economic, and social challenges. It's a stark reminder that the stability of a nation can be fragile, and the ripple effects of crises can be profound. As we continue to explore other countries facing similar turmoil, the importance of resilience and strategic governance becomes increasingly clear. Number 8, Lebanon. Banks froze withdrawals as the currency lost 98% of its value. But what led to this catastrophic financial meltdown? Lebanon, known for its vibrant culture and historical significance, has faced a series of escalating crises over the past decade. The roots of the financial collapse can be traced back to years of economic mismanagement, corruption, and political instability. The Lebanese banking sector, once considered robust, became a house of cards. In 2019, protests erupted across the country, driven by growing public frustration over corruption and economic hardship. The government resigned, but the political vacuum only deepened the crisis. By 2020, the COVID-19 pandemic further strained the economy, leading to a significant drop in remittances and tourism, two critical sources of revenue. Then came the tragic Beirut port explosion in August 2020, which caused massive destruction and further crippled the economy. The blast not only claimed lives, but also shattered businesses and homes, pushing the nation to the brink. In the wake of these events, the Lebanese pound plummeted, losing nearly all its value. Banks, unable to cope with the economic turmoil, imposed strict capital controls, freezing withdrawals and leaving citizens unable to access their savings. Hyperinflation ensued, making everyday necessities unaffordable for many. The international community has offered aid, but political gridlock and a lack of effective governance have hindered recovery efforts. Lebanon's financial meltdown is a stark reminder of how quickly a nation's fortunes can turn when governance fails, and the ripple effects are felt by every citizen. As we move forward, understanding Lebanon's plight underscores the importance of transparent governance and economic resilience in preventing such devastating collapses. Number 7, Haiti. With no elected government, gangs now control most of the capital. But how did this Caribbean nation, known for its rich history and resilience, fall into such disarray? Haiti's descent into chaos began with a series of devastating natural disasters, including the catastrophic earthquake in 2010, which killed hundreds of thousands and displaced millions. The international community pledged billions in aid, but much of it was squandered due to corruption and mismanagement. In recent years, political instability has plagued Haiti. The assassination of President Jovenel Moïse in 2021 left a power vacuum, leading to a government in disarray. With no elected officials to provide leadership, the country has been gripped by lawlessness. Gangs have exploited this power vacuum, seizing control of large parts of the capital, Port-au-Prince. These armed groups engage in violent turf wars, kidnappings, and extortion, making everyday life perilous for ordinary Haitians. Essential services have collapsed, and many citizens live in constant fear. The economic situation is equally dire. Inflation has skyrocketed, and basic necessities like food and fuel are out of reach for many. The lack of a functioning government has stymied any efforts at economic recovery, leaving the population in a state of perpetual crisis. International efforts to stabilize Haiti have been hampered by the lack of a legitimate government to work with. Humanitarian organizations struggle to deliver aid amid the chaos, and many Haitians are left to fend for themselves in increasingly desperate conditions. Haiti's plight serves as a grim reminder of how quickly a nation can descend into chaos when governance fails. It's a call to the global community to support efforts for stability and to learn from Haiti's tragic experience. As we continue our journey through the world's most fragile states, Haiti's story underscores the devastating impact of political instability and the urgent need for effective governance. Number 6. Venezuela. Once oil-rich, now gutted by hyperinflation and food shortages. Venezuela, a country with the largest proven oil reserves in the world, was once one of Latin America's wealthiest nations. However, mismanagement, corruption, and political turmoil have led to an unprecedented economic collapse. The decline began in earnest during the presidency of Hugo Chavez, whose socialist policies, while initially popular, led to economic distortions and inefficiencies. After Chavez's death, his successor, Nicolas Maduro, faced plummeting oil prices and an economy already on the brink. The government's response was to print more money, leading to hyperinflation that reached astronomical levels. The national currency, the bolivar, became almost worthless, and basic necessities like food and medicine became scarce. Millions of Venezuelans have fled the country, creating one of the largest refugee crises in the world. Those who remained face daily struggles to secure food, water, and electricity. The healthcare system has collapsed, with hospitals lacking even the most basic supplies. International sanctions have further isolated the country, and efforts for political change have been met with severe repression. The government's grip on power remains tight, and the prospects for recovery seem distant. Venezuela's story is a stark reminder of how quickly fortunes can change and the devastating impact of economic mismanagement and political corruption. As we continue to explore the world's most fragile states, Venezuela's plight highlights the urgent need for effective governance and economic stability to prevent such tragedies. Number 5. Sudan. Civil war between generals has killed thousands and displaced millions. Sudan, a country rich in culture and history, has been torn apart by a brutal civil war. The conflict erupted in 2019 when two powerful military leaders, General Abdel Fattah al-Burhan and General Mohammed Hamdan Dagalo, turned against each other. What began as a power struggle escalated into full-scale warfare, engulfing the nation in violence and chaos. The fighting has devastated Sudan's infrastructure, with cities and villages alike reduced to rubble. Thousands have lost their lives, and millions more have been forced to flee their homes, seeking refuge in neighboring countries or makeshift camps within Sudan. The humanitarian crisis is dire, with shortages of food, clean water, and medical supplies exacerbating the suffering. International efforts to mediate peace have so far been unsuccessful, and the conflict shows no signs of abating. The once hopeful aspirations of Sudanese citizens for democracy and stability have been replaced by a daily struggle for survival. As we witness the tragic descent of Sudan into chaos, it serves as a poignant reminder of the fragility of peace and the devastating impact of political and military power struggles. The world watches, hoping for a resolution, but fearing the worst. Sudan's plight is a call to action for the international community to support those affected and work tirelessly towards a lasting peace. Number 4. Myanmar. A military coup crushed democracy and plunged the nation into civil war. In February 2021, Myanmar's fragile democracy was shattered when the military, led by General Min Aung Hlaing, seized power, ousting the elected government of Aung San Suu Kyi. The coup sparked massive protests and civil disobedience, with citizens from all walks of life demanding the restoration of democracy. The military responded with brutal force, resulting in thousands of deaths and widespread arrests. As the conflict intensified, ethnic armed groups and newly formed resistance forces joined the struggle against the junta, turning the country into a battleground. Entire towns and villages have been caught in the crossfire, with countless civilians losing their homes and livelihoods. The humanitarian toll is staggering, with millions in need of urgent assistance and hundreds of thousands displaced internally or as refugees in neighboring countries. International condemnation has been swift, but diplomatic efforts to resolve the crisis have faltered. Sanctions and isolation have done little to deter the military's grip on power, while the people of Myanmar continue to endure unimaginable hardships. The dream of a democratic Myanmar now seems more distant than ever, with the nation teetering on the brink of prolonged conflict and instability. As the world watches Myanmar's descent into chaos, it serves as a stark warning of how quickly democracy can be dismantled and the devastating consequences that follow. The plight of Myanmar's people is a call to action for the global community to support their fight for freedom and justice. Number 3. Zimbabwe. Hyperinflation once hit 79 billion%, an economy in ruins. Zimbabwe's economic collapse is a tale of poor governance, corruption, and misguided policies. In the early 2000s, the land reform program, intended to redress colonial imbalances, spiraled into chaos. Productive farms were seized, leading to a sharp decline in agricultural output and food shortages. The government's response? Printing more money. This led to one of the worst hyperinflation crises in history, with prices doubling almost daily. At its peak, a loaf of bread cost several trillion Zimbabwean dollars. By 2008, the situation was so dire that the government abandoned its own currency in favor of the US dollar. The economy stabilized somewhat, but the underlying issues remained unresolved. Fast forward to today, and Zimbabwe is once again facing severe economic challenges. Inflation is soaring, unemployment is rampant, and the majority of the population lives in poverty. Basic services like healthcare and education are crumbling, and power cuts are a daily occurrence. The political landscape is equally bleak. The ruling party, ZANU-PF, maintains its grip on power through a combination of patronage and repression. Elections are marred by allegations of rigging and violence, leaving little hope for democratic change. The international community has imposed sanctions, but these have done little to alleviate the suffering of ordinary Zimbabweans. As Zimbabwe teeters on the brink, it serves as a grim reminder of how quickly a nation can spiral into economic chaos. The lessons here are stark, sound governance, respect for property rights, and economic prudence are crucial for a nation's stability and prosperity. Zimbabwe's plight is a call to action for leaders and policymakers worldwide to avoid the pitfalls that have led to such devastating consequences. Number 2. Afghanistan. The Taliban's return to power in 2021 marked the end of a fragile peace and the beginning of a new era of turmoil. The withdrawal of international forces left a vacuum that the Taliban quickly filled, leading to a collapse of aid, women's rights, and overall stability. As the Taliban seized control, international aid, which had been the lifeline for millions, dried up almost overnight. With the economy already on the brink, the sudden cessation of foreign assistance plunged Afghanistan into an unprecedented humanitarian crisis. Food and medical supplies became scarce, and the banking system teetered on the edge of collapse. Women's rights, which had seen significant progress over the past 2 decades, were swiftly rolled back. Girls were banned from secondary education, women were forced out of the workforce, and strict dress codes were imposed. The hopes and dreams of millions of Afghan women were shattered in an instant, as they found themselves once again confined to their homes and stripped of their basic freedoms. The political landscape remains volatile, with the Taliban's hardline governance facing resistance from various factions within the country. Despite their promises of a more moderate rule, reports of human rights abuses and summary executions are rampant. The international community is watching closely, but diplomatic efforts have so far yielded little progress. Afghanistan's plight serves as a stark reminder of how quickly a nation can unravel when faced with internal strife and external abandonment. It is a call to action for the global community to not only provide immediate humanitarian aid, but also to work towards a long-term, sustainable solution that respects the rights and aspirations of all Afghans. As Afghanistan navigates this tumultuous period, the resilience of its people remains a beacon of hope. Their struggle is a testament to the human spirit's enduring quest for dignity and justice, even in the face of overwhelming adversity. Number 1. Ukraine. A brutal invasion by Russia turned cities to rubble and millions into refugees. In February 2022, the world watched in shock as Russian forces crossed Ukraine's borders, igniting a conflict that would reshape the geopolitical landscape. Entire cities, once bustling with life, were reduced to smoldering ruins. Families were torn apart as millions fled their homes, seeking refuge in neighboring countries and beyond. The humanitarian toll has been staggering. Hospitals, schools, and residential areas have not been spared from the devastation. In the midst of the chaos, the resilience and unity of the Ukrainian people have shone through. Volunteers, both local and international, have mobilized to provide aid and support, even as the conflict rages on. The economic impact has been severe, with Ukraine's infrastructure suffering extensive damage. The war has disrupted supply chains, leading to shortages of essential goods and skyrocketing prices. The ripple effects are felt globally, affecting food and energy markets. Internationally, the invasion has led to unprecedented sanctions against Russia, further isolating the nation. Diplomatic efforts have been relentless, but a peaceful resolution remains elusive. The conflict has underscored the fragility of global stability, serving as a stark reminder that no nation is immune to upheaval. Ukraine's struggle is a testament to the courage and determination of its people. Their fight for sovereignty and freedom echoes through the corridors of history, a poignant reminder of the enduring human spirit. These aren't distant crises, they're warnings. No nation is too stable to fall.